In our first story, the minority in Parliament will today seek to block the approval of a deputy minister designate for local government and rural development.
John Oti Bless, Mr. Bless is accused of making denigrating comments against the Chief Justice on a radio show. The Nkwanta North Member of Parliament is alleged to have described the Chief Justice as an agent of the NPP and unfit for the job. Here are some reactions to the Deputy Minister designate's comments against the Chief Justice.
Subsequent to appearing before the committee, the voice of Mr. Oti has appeared, in which he is making serious castigations against the Chief Justice. The Speaker, I would have wished that he would learn from what had happened to people who had made serious castigations against this House, how this House has dealt with them, and he would have been very circumspect when he had the opportunity to speak on this matter. Taking one arm of government on. The Speaker, the vituperation that he engaged in cannot be excused. And I believe if it had been on any of our colleagues, on the Speaker, even at this time, would have found space to deal with it. The Speaker, the language was venomous, the language was hate impregnated, the language was disparaging to the justices of the highest court of this land, and will counsel him if he gets the approval of this House to keep his mouth shut. Mr. Speaker, these words are unprintable. Mr. Speaker, if you heard them, maybe you will choke. It's certainly not the best. From a member of Parliament, taking the justices of the Supreme Court to the cleanest, without any iota of evidence. In this House, I've not heard any statement or any contribution from him on the floor of the House. But I thought these words were most unbecoming of a member, of a serving member of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I would want to believe that even if we approve of him, and if we do, the member should be given the opportunity to purge himself. Should be given the opportunity to purge himself. Mr. Speaker, after the meeting, so many things are coming up, and I've had the occasion to have some discussions with him.
Ashanti Regional MPP Secretary Sampine has indicated the party will take legal action against the Electoral Commission if the institution fails to extend the timeline for re-registration of persons whose names were deleted from the voters' register. And all this is following a Supreme Court ruling.
Sampine is blaming the Electoral Commission for the low turnout at the end of the 10-day period for re-registration following its decision to limit the process to its district offices. Speaking to Favor Nunu, Sampine said disenfranchising the voters who registered with NHIS cards will be in clear contravention of the orders of the Supreme Court.
We still feel there should be an extension. If you look at the numbers, the EC itself came out with 56,000 plus. Per the statistics of the EC, after the 10th day of the re-registration, they have just 22,000. So you have a difference of 30-something thousand plus not registered. Even assuming wrongly that 50% of them are foreigners, the rest of the almost 20,000 people should get their names on the register. And this is the decision of the Supreme Court of Ghana, not the EC's court, the Supreme Court of Ghana, which ordered them to make sure Ghanaians 18 years and above and of a sound mind are registered back so that they can vote in the 2016 elections.
But the EC, let me hold brief for the EC here. They have argued that finances remains the issue and that extending the re-registration process would cause extra strain on their budget. Wouldn't that suffice as an explanation by the EC?
It's a lame explanation. When they were going to have this whole exercise, they knew that re-registering at district offices was going to be a problem. For example, if somebody is in Sechafram Plains in the Ashanti region and at a particular place called Unofi, if the person wants to register or re-register, the person needs to travel to Nkoko, travel to Kumasi, travel to Kumawu, and travel to Drobonso before the person can get re-registered. the in-out of that process is going to cost the person close to 100 Ghana cedis. My dear friends, let's look at the logic in the argument of the NDC. If they could have done it on the electoral area basis, as they did for the limited registration, that could have been better. So I still insist the actions and inactions is a cause of all these things that they should allow the people to get registered. This whole exercise is a legal matter, it's a matter of the Supreme Court, it's a legality, and when we want to take action, it should be legal. And I'm telling you, when it's not done, we are going to seek the legal redress.
And the MPP has hailed the preliminary ruling of the Supreme Court directing the Attorney General to provide details of an agreement reached with the United States that facilitated the hosting of 2 ex-Guantanamo Bay detainees in Ghana.
The party says the directive is a clear indication of a lack of transparency in the Mahama-led administration. Communications Director of the NPP, Nana Komia, spoke with our colleague Favor Nunu.
The courts of Ghana ordered the government to release whatever agreement that they had with the American government on the relocation of the 2 Guantanamo detainees. And the court ordered that whatever agreement should be released so that it can be part of the court's proceedings. Now, this is a clear example of the government not living up to the tenets of probity, accountability, and transparency. And so you were expecting that this government was going to make a great effort to be transparent, to be accountable to the people. But the evidence shows otherwise. The evidence is very disappointing. And the Gitmo, the court order on the release of the Gitmo agreement is a clear case in point where this government is not being transparent and is being forced by the courts to be transparent and accountable to the people of Ghana. So, clear case of non-consultation, non-transparency, non-accountability, and now the courts have ordered the government, President Mahama's government, to release whatever agreement there was over the Gitmo detainees. Recently, the Smarties bus branding, you remember? Yes. When it was discovered, there was a lot of anxiety in the country about how the decision was made and how the contract was awarded and all of that. And this clearly shows that this government had to be dragged before it to be transparent, before it to be accountable. You take other examples, the Car Power deal, the contracts that government has signed between itself and Car Power. It hasn't been taken to Parliament. No, you take other instances, ADB and flotation and so on. It paints a very terrible picture of President Mahama's government, not willing to be transparent, not willing to be accountable to the people of this country. And the order by the courts in the Gitmo clearly illustrates the point that the government is not accountable and transparent. And this flies in the face of President Mahama's own pronouncements, and flies in the face of the NDC's own constitution, flies in the face of the national constitution. And you see, it is this atmosphere of non-transparency and non-accountability that allows corruption to thrive. And we all know what corruption has done in this administration, with the president himself being in a position where he's been accused of taking bribes. It is this whole culture of non-transparency and non-accountability that allows corruption to flourish.
President John Dramani Mahama has mounted a strong defense of his government's decision to convert polytechnics into technical universities.
The reform became controversial when students and lecturers of some polytechnics that were not part of the list of schools to be converted in the first phase of the exercise embarked on a series of demonstrations to to be reconsidered for the exercise. Some academics have suggested that the conversion was not the full answer to the problems of resources and investments polytechnics in the country have suffered over the years. But speaking at the congregation of the University of Professional Studies here in Accra, President Mahama explained the rationale for the Technical Universities Bill currently before Parliament.
The establishment of new public universities such as the University of Health and Allied Sciences, the University of Energy and Natural Resources, and the upcoming University of Sustainable Development to be located in the Eastern region. We've expanded infrastructure, installed world-class equipment, and provided quality services on all our campuses. We're currently in Parliament for the passage of the Technical Universities Bill, which will provide the legal basis for the conversion of our 10 polytechnics into technical universities. The Technical University Initiative is in response to the expected growth of our economy, the manpower requirements that our middle-income economy will require in the next several years, and also the urgent need to ensure the training of well-qualified technical and practical-minded middle-level manpower.
And the president has also been touting the achievement in the management of the country's economy, describing it as very much remarkable.
Citing some key economic indicators to back his case, the president noted the economy has been resilient in spite of the global economic downturn.
The agenda for transformation, which is focused on the realignment of the economic structure of our economy from a fully import-dependent to a production and export-driven economy, is on course, and it requires the requisite human resource to drive it forward.
After 23 years of selfless and dedicated service to Ghana, which saw him supervise 6 elections, former chair of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan, has left 30 months without a penny when he left office.
While the Controller and Accountant General's Department ceased paying his salary in June 2015 and his gratuity was delayed, a situation officials of the department attribute to bureaucratic processes. Following a series of processes, the Controller's office, the Electoral Commission officials and relatives to facilitate payment yielded no results for close to 12 months. On the 13th month after his retirement, MyJoyline.com began investigations into the delay. The Controller and Accountant General's Department finally paid his lump sum, promising to pay arrears of his pension from this month, August 2016.
Very interesting development, but let's go to some other area, because some players in the economy are reiterating calls for a renewed focus on commitment to developing the country's manufacturing sector.
This, according to them, is because even though the sector's contribution has been declining over the years, it still holds the key to the country's economic growth. The managing director of Unilever Ghana, Medie Akutu, is one of such advocates who has been given reasons for his position.
I think Ghana has been through some difficult economic times, but recent years and our current situation is particularly difficult. And if you look at the statistics, last year, especially around manufacturing and industry, there was actually a decline in Ghana. Therefore, we need to really support each other to help to make sure that the industry and manufacturing sector grows. It's one of the fundamental pillars of any economy, and therefore, whether big or small, we need to make sure it's a viable part of the economy.
Medie Akutu. Relief has come to parent of a 3-year-old boy who had been racing against time to find the sum of some 12,000 Ghana cedis for surgery to repair his damaged throat.
Little Joseph Lamboni accidentally drank caustic soda, resulting in an infection which makes swallowing difficult. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has more.
Joseph is one of many children undergoing treatment at Konfanochi Teaching Hospital for innocently coming into contact with dangerous substance. He feeds through a tube inserted in his perforated tummy as doctors try to manage the situation. Dr. Michael Amwa is head of pediatrics unit at the Konfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital.
The food pipe or the esophagus is blocked, such that the person can no longer swallow anything through the mouth. And this blockade is as a result of formation of scar tissue through accidental ingestion of caustic soda, the substance that is used in making soap.
Joseph's peasant farmer parents in the western region had no idea where and how they were going to raise 12,000 Ghana cedis for the operation. American Relief Centers, a philanthropic organization, has offered to fit the bill. Josephine Eduse Nkrumah is co-director.
Actually, we believe every child deserves to feel safe in the environment. So it is our passion to feel or to see the child being safe for the operation that he's going through right now. So when we went for a program and then we saw the little boy, we were moved by that. We decided to come down to help the child due to the passion we have for it and the desire to make them feel safe.
Joseph's father, who is himself battling a chronic sore, is thankful to the American Relief Centers. Dr. Michael is optimistic about the outcome of the treatment. He is concerned incidents of children being exposed to dangerous substances is on the rise.
In recent times, it's very alarming. Previously, you would see maybe about 2 or 3 the whole year, but it's become very rampant to the extent that every month you may see about 2 or 3 cases. Rampant to the extent that every month you may see about 2 or 3.
Well, we hope that at least the needed funds also will be contributed by all of us so that he will get a good recovery.
That's it for the AM News. Stay with us. We've got the newspapers. We'll check out what My Joy Online is also reporting today, as well as City FM Online. And then we'll do the Africa page of the BBC.
Well, so you want to get interactive as always. Please, now we want a lot more of those messages from WhatsApp. Do we have some coming?
Yeah, we
have
do.
A couple coming.
We do.
And the WhatsApp number is 0560 800,000. And you can also check us on our Facebook page. Joy News on TV is the page's name. But right now, we're streaming live on our channel on YouTube. I love mentioning that a lot. And for many of us who have a lot more of the data for internet connectivity, please check the channel out. The name is My Joy Online. Great, great channel. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll do the newspapers.